Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert Thompson-Eshun, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing one thing that I did not learn in pharmacy school that could actually make a big impact on your personal as well as professional success in the future. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because when I started to notice I had this issue, I also started to notice that other people also had the same issue as me. And this is very important because pharmacists are usually seen as the leader in their healthcare space, no matter where they go into their professional journeys, whether you're working in retail, hospital, or you're working in industry. And one thing I started to recognize was that when I was working, I started to notice who I wanted to work with versus who I didn't want to work with. And the one difference I noticed was having emotional intelligence. And it actually took me a long time to actually figure out what this was. Because when you're constantly in go mode, like you're constantly just working through things, you never take the time to actually reflect upon your experiences and yourself to understand like how you actually interact with other people. So that's when I actually picked up this book from Gary Vaynerchuk called 12 and a Half. And this is the book that really helped me a lot because in the book, he actually goes through different emotional ingredients that he was able to actually leverage to help him have a successful career. And this book actually helped me a lot when I was going through the interview process, because when you're going through the interview process, they're basically asking you, what are the challenging situations that you experience? How did you go about it? What are some of your leadership qualities? And then from then on, they want to constantly keep asking you different ways of figuring out if you actually understand yourself and how you interact with other people. So here are 3 things that you can do to actually increase your emotional capacity, which will hopefully lead to having a lot better leadership qualities. So the first thing you can do is to put yourself in challenging situations, and especially if you're a student, like obviously your main goal right now is to just study, but on top of that, you actually want to be, if you can, work on top of that, or just go to clubs or work on presentations or projects, because your main goal is to basically work with other people. And this will actually allow you to have a lot better situations where you can actually challenge yourself. And I think when you really challenge yourself, you get to really understand your character a lot better. And one advice I got from my mentor that I really like is that, like, early in your career, you should say yes a lot, because it will allow you to have experiences that a lot of other people would not be able to have. So after you put yourself in these very challenging situations, it's very important to also reflect upon these situations. So take time to actually ask yourself very tough questions, Ask yourself, how did it go? What did you learn from this experience? What could you have done better? And on top of that, like, how did you make someone else feel when you reacted a certain way? And a lot of these things, when you're actually taking the time to reflect upon these situations, you really learn a lot about yourself, and you get to learn a lot about another person. And then on top of that, you can actually learn how you can actually navigate that in the future when you actually have a future career in pharmacy or in healthcare space. So once you're actually able to reflect on them, the next thing you want to do is paint a picture. And the reason why I want to say paint a picture is because of the fact that you basically want to storytell in a way where the other person you're talking to can actually picture how you were able to actually overcome the situations. And this is actually where I got the most value from this book. Is because in this book, it actually has 3 parts. Part 1 is basically him explaining the different emotional ingredients. Part 2 is him actually talking about the real life scenarios that are very challenging. And then part 3 is exercises you can actually do to work on each one. So whenever I read this book and I reread the book over and over again, I usually focus on part 2 because of the fact that these situations are very challenging, and every time you look at a situation, they can actually have a different result. And when you actually do that, you have to actually understand a lot about yourself and what emotional ingredients you have to be able to actually talk about them in a way that the other person can understand your character, and that will actually allow them to actually memorize you a lot better. So the main method that most people use to tell stories in interviews is the STAR method, which is the situation, the task, the action, and then the result. And this is the important framework to actually understand. But I think the biggest gap actually comes from being able to fully understand yourself and then being able to fully communicate that to someone else. For example, it can be pretty easy to tell somebody that you're a very accountable person, but it's a lot more impactful to actually share a story of when you took ownership over something that went wrong and how you were actually able to improve upon that thing. Not only does it show somebody that you fully understand yourself, but it actually makes it easier to memorize you as a person, because as humans, we actually memorize a lot better through a story. Since I started to work on my EQ, I've actually noticed a major difference in my relationships professionally as well as personally, and I hope it actually will lead to a lot more success in the future. So that's the end of the video for you guys. If you guys actually want to check out this book, I'll leave a link down below in the description. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Bye.